Once again, good evening. Whenever we get ready, yeah. So today's work session agenda. We'll start with item number 1, bid for evaluation of bids for the grass cutting for lot cleanup. We had 47 lots out for bid. You gentlemen had a chance to look at those.
I rode around and looked at a dozen of them, probably. Have you looked at any of them? I guess my question is just what is the standard for what we're receiving for these? Because a lot of these I've gone and looked at, and I don't see how someone's cleaning them up for $250 or $200. The one I looked at one. There's one that's just a burnout shell. And you'll forgive me for not having that address. I apologize, but it's more of a demolition. I don't see how it's being done for $800 or $750 or what.
A lot of these are done, so they're all done through a bid process through code enforcement. So a lot of times, based on the number they're bidding on, it'll drop the price of some of them because they're getting them. It's based on the amount that they're getting, not just that one property. So if they can get multiple properties in a bid, then they can drop the price on one or another. The burnout structures, those are deemed unsafe structures. So because they're burned up, the extent of the damage from the fire also drops that price because there's not as much to clean up during the process. But it's vitally important to get those cleaned up because they're a safety hazard and a nuisance to the community. So again, a lot of those are based on more than just one property for the overall bid package. So the more they can get, the less they can do with property.
Okay.
One of the things I've observed over the years is that it's repetitive. Sometimes the same lots over and over again. So, I remember one time they mentioned, once the lots are clean, whoever receives the bid, let them continue to take care of the lots so it won't be grown up as much, it won't look so bad. So whatever happens, come with that.
So, and that might be a more detailed conversation for later on, but we're not required to continually maintain those properties. They're not city properties, they're privately owned properties, or in care of the state. So once the nuisance is abated, then that nuisance is abated. We don't have to go back and cut it every year, or because what happened was in the past we did do that, and we ended up with a list of 600 properties, and we don't have the funding in the budget to maintain 600 properties that are not owned by the city of Anniston. Yeah. So, technically, the way the ordinance is read, the property maintenance code that we adopt as a city through the ICC adoption process, once a property is abated, so let's say there's a structure on it, and we tear that structure down. Once the structure's gone and it's no longer a developed property, that property goes back to natural habitat, meaning we don't maintain it again. Now, that being said, we do, based on complaints and things, try to maintain some of those properties over time. We don't keep a running list of properties to maintain. That's just not feasible.
But Demetric, over time, how bad is it? How many right now is it possible?
It just varies, but we're doing a lot less now than we were 5 years ago.
Yeah, but to that point, Mr. Brown. So what generally happens is we allow these to go back to the natural habitat, and that's fine and good, with the exception of a lot of these structures are within the neighborhood. Now, when they become within the neighborhoods, a lot of people look at it as if, everyone is going to say we got rats, roaches, and everything. I mean, rats and snakes and all these kind of critters that are caused from that. Now, what I would like to see the city move forward with doing is finding a pool of money. And just like we put these out for bid, all of the properties that are not government or not Anniston-owned properties, bid those out to the small business owners, and but of course make sure they have everything legit, all the way down to the bonding insurance. That way, if something happens, that would be a way of helping our small business grow. However, I do think we really need to look at that ordinance of allowing everything to go back to its natural habitat. I think we need to look at, in certain zones, that's fine, but if we have residential zones and nobody's cutting it at all and nobody's keeping it up, you could have a forest between two houses. Well, especially if it's two lots. That's just, one of my recommendations, because it's a lot.
I'm looking for that money, you said we can find. You said find it.
So that was going to be my next point.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Brown? I mean, how many of these? Do you know if there are any properties on this list that have been abated before and or we're cleaning up again? Or
There's a very good chance there are, and I would bet that I'll put money on the fact that there is some that we've abated before. But it's not just the fact that we've abated it and now we're just doing it again. It's gone back through the complete process again. So in other words, it started from the beginning all over again. It's not like a reoccurring because of the list.
right, I mean, it has to go all the way back
Yes.
through. They're chronic.
Yes, sir.
They're chronic problems. They're
Yes, sir.
not. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of these houses, a lot of these structures just need to be torn down.
Well, and the way that's done is based on the severity. So we've got a huge list of dilapidated
Oh,
structures.
yeah.
But so it's based on the severity of the safety issues, how long they've been in that care, or that condition. So it's almost like prioritizing to some degree, but, a structure added to the list today is not gonna be demoed tomorrow ahead of a bunch of other structures unless there's extenuating circumstances. So.
Mr. Brown, another ask question. Do we own any of those, the city own any of those farms?
On the list,
Yes.
I would assume no, because if the city owns them, then we're gonna maintain them, period. We're not gonna have to go through the bankruptcy process.
So that would lead to my last question, Mr. Brown. Are any of these state-controlled properties?
Oh, absolutely.
So will we get reimbursed for?
So the way that happens is so the funds that's used to abate those properties is then put against a lien against the property. So
Right.
anybody that redeems that property from the state has to redeem those liens also
Right.
before they can take control of the property.
And then we would get rid of that. Thanks, sir.
We satisfied with
Yes, sir.
item number one? All right, item number two, reimbursement to city officials. Basically housekeeping. You good with that? All right. Budget item number three, budget amendment.
I just had a question about how that funding stream works, Ms. Leonard. It is that, so we have to allocate the funds to Main Street for a grant that they received.
If it changes the budget, and in order for her to spend it, she has to increase it by the revenue. So it wasn't budgeted, and then they received 10 grand, but in order for her to spend it, we have to, you're changing the budget for revenue, so she has to put it back in so that she can spend it out.
My question to that, piggyback off that is, Main Street that money was decided on, it was given to Main Street for Main Street to use as it see fit.
Specifically for that purpose.
Right, okay. Great. Because, and I asked that question because first thing people said when we say we got a Main Street grant, well, we need to fix the potholes. First thing is it.
The reappropriate is grants that are specific to a purpose.
Gotcha. All right. So we go with that? Item number four, zoning and adjustment discussions. Property PPA number 88792, rezone from a natural open space to a suburban neighborhood number 2.
I don't have anything on that right now. It looks as it says it does.
Yeah,
That's a simplistic change that flows with the uses of the zones.
so we're good on that?
Yes, sir.
It's free in the city manager. We have an update from the city manager?
Sir, it's been a great 5 days for me. So I've really focused on getting to know the directors of each of our programs, looking at how we can improve the the city, the customer service, things of that nature. But no major updates besides that, and I look forward to giving better updates in the future.
All right, if we have nothing else, we will adjourn to our formal meeting at 5:30.